Hey everyone, me Kevin here with your update on negotiations for the next round of stimulus checks and the next stimulus package. There's a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into this. It is late Monday on July 20th. Also, quick shout out to those of you who signed up for the pre-sale that ends in a few days for the Making Money by Making YouTube Videos course. You all are amazing. All right, let's get into the status report. The current plans are as follows. A $1 trillion package. This is down from the $1.3 trillion package that was rumored. It's unclear if this is just a Republican negotiating tactic for Democrats, but the number right now is $1 trillion. Funding for the CDC is still up in the air. Trump does not want to fund the CDC and instead wants the CDC to finish using money they already have. The current plan has zero funding for state and local governments. This is heavily down, well, it's actually completely down from the $1 trillion that Democrats wanted for state and local governments. Think about that for a moment. Democrats wanted $1 trillion for state and local governments. Republicans said, how about zero? And instead we'll just have a $1 trillion package in total rather than your $3 trillion package. Instead of providing money to states, Republicans insist that they want federal tax credits to go directly to schools that open safely. The president has also doubled down on a payroll tax cut, but there is a big twist I'm about to reveal to you. The president first, I'm gonna get through the first part, then I'm gonna tell you the big twist. The president first feels that Republicans will support him on this, though the reality is not all Republicans do. The president also feels that a payroll tax cut is easier to defend politically than so-called, quote, helicopter money, which is probably a reference to stimulus checks, which is often referred to as helicopter money. It's like the government up in a helicopter throwing money down to the poor people. It's kind of sad to think that people think of stimulus checks as some form of social welfare, when in reality, many modern countries around the world are simply trying to help their citizens pay their bills during a 100-year pandemic. That is once in a 100-year pandemic. Anyway, the payroll tax cut is seen as a large tax savings for the people by the president. Social Security, which is a part of the payroll tax system, is currently 6.2%, and the Medicare portion of the payroll tax is currently 1.45%. Trump sees this as a big savings for the people because if both of those would be waived, you would take home 6.2% more plus an additional 1.45% more in pay if you're working. It doesn't help people who are retired or who are not working. Trump also sees this as an incentive to hire workers for businesses, since workers would get paid more. I find this ironic, though, because it is possible that businesses could just offer people less pay and say, hey, by the way, you're making more money on the payroll tax. And then it's kind of like you're not really getting any extra money, right? The economists will debate that one. We'll see, but that's definitely something that crossed my mind. Without the company having to pay for that increase, obviously workers do make more money. So that is fair, and it's not coming out of the company's pocket. Democrats don't support the payroll tax cut because it defunds Social Security and Medicare. Now, this is the twist. You want to sit down for this part because this is probably the stupidest thing that I've heard. So be prepared. Get your life insurance in as little as 5 minutes via the link down below. Get your 2 free stocks with Webull. Deposit $100. Get 2 free stocks with Webull. Start gaining assets and building wealth in your life. And now buckle up for this. There was an idea floated that gained some traction, which, again, stupid. To make the payroll tax cut, not a cut, but a payroll tax deferral. A payroll tax deferral, rather than a cut, means you would owe the money back later. That's literally like the stupidest thing that I've heard, first of all. And it's quite literally like lending you a stimulus check and then them asking for it back. Like, holy smokes, you have got to be kidding me that a payroll tax deferral got mentioned at this closed door meeting. It just seems so tone deaf. I don't get that. And I'm not trying to take sides. Like, I'm just trying to report what I'm hearing. And what I'm hearing, a payroll tax deferral, is straight up BS. Okay? So whoever came up with that idea, all right, in all fairness, I'm not taking sides with them, whoever they are. All right. Democrats and Republicans have 15 days left to get something passed. Well, that includes today, so take one off and pass it around. 14 days left. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin is trying to make it happen by the 31st, but that seems highly unlikely based on reports from insiders. Insiders think it is almost certain that the unemployment extension deadline will be missed. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin himself believes that next week will be the week to resolve differences between Democrats and Republicans. The next recess begins on August 8th. That's a Saturday. That means whatever is not done by the end of August 7th means we would wait until September 10th for a bill. Whether or not we can get one extended or whether or not we can get the recess postponed is up in the air. My guess at this point is I would not be surprised to see Republicans pass a plan and then go on recess and Democrats stay in Congress and then basically be stuck negotiating with themselves in the House. I'm not quite sure how that would work, if they could call the Senate back and go, hey, y'all good with this revision over here? Or if they're all just, we're on recess. Let's just hope we don't get to August 7th without having something passed. As far as the actual plan, we're supposed to receive the literal text of the plan today or tomorrow. We were supposed to. However, now it appears that we won't actually get the paper format of this bill until sometime next week because they're still fine-tuning it. That was their word, fine-tuning it. If you're interested in stocks, I posted a it's totally free. I posted a video on my current stock strategy. So if you don't yet know about stocks or you don't know what to pick or how to, where to put your cash, I literally broke all of that down. I'll link that video up here and I'll also put it down below. Furthermore, Trump will now start resuming press conferences starting at 5 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday. That's 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trump believes that the press conferences are an effective way to communicate, and he says that he stopped communicating for about 6 to 8 weeks because there was no news to give. These talks are also great opportunities for reporters to ask Trump about negotiations for the next stimulus package. So pay attention to these press conferences. They should be very rich with information. We'll see them. Now, there is this idea floating around that Democrats and state governments should make do with money that's floating around from the old CARES package. I think this is a mistake of an idea, and I think it is a bad idea framed with bad logic. The primary reason we hear that there's money left over from the CARES Act is because there's money left for the Paycheck Protection Program, and there's money left for the Federal Reserve's Main Street Lending Program. However, neither of those go directly to helping states. In fact, right now, the Treasury Department is thinking about releasing that extra PPP money to hard-hit businesses like restaurants or hotels, and the Main Street Lending Program is still struggling to get up off the ground because the Treasury Department is putting too many restrictions on it. So even though this money is authorized, and even though the Treasury Department's saying like, hey, you guys got enough money, they're making it harder to actually spend the money. So it's very frustrating to hear that, well, there's money left over. Just use that. On the $1,200 stimulus checks, while they are still expected, they are facing headwinds. Someone in the White House actually called another round of stimulus checks, quote, a silly idea. This sounds like the person I want to literally punch in the face. And I'm not talking about through Zoom. I'm talking about physically punch in the face, because that has got to be the stupidest and most tone-deaf second thing that I've heard today. This is getting frustrating. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says the focus of the next package is kids, childcare services, childcare funding, and jobs. Mitch McConnell realizes he can't get anything passed without Democrats, but promises that he will talk to them soon. PPP funding is being considered to be extended for those harder hit areas, and Donald Trump has now tweeted, quote, we are united in our effort to defeat the invisible China virus, and many people say that it is patriotic to wear a face mask when you can't socially distance. There is nobody more patriotic than me, your favorite president. Donald Trump said this with a photo of himself in a mask. It appears that Donald Trump is now endorsing masks, because even in Donald Trump's talk with media and reporters this morning inside of the Oval Office, Donald Trump repeatedly bagged on China, saying that this virus came from China. China knew it was a problem. They could have done better, and they didn't, and so on and so forth. This, by the way, comes as Gallup polls shows, which Gallup polls is a poll group. They try to stay in the middle. Anyway, they ran a poll on whether or not people wear masks based on their politics. They found that 94% of Democrats wear masks and 46% of Republicans wear masks. We also have good news out of Oxford today on the vaccine front. Keep this in mind about the vaccine front. The vaccine developments are all great news. We really don't need all of them to succeed though. And that's actually a sign of hope and optimism, I personally believe. Because if we hear that one vaccine from, let's say, Johnson & Johnson has failed, that's okay. We got Pfizer and BioNTech, we've got AstraZeneca and Oxford, we've got a lot of vaccines out there, we've got Moderna making one, and there are even other companies, many other companies making vaccines. So that's a good thing if you ever hear any negative data about vaccines, even though right now we're only getting positive data. There are so many different vaccines being created. It is an interesting development to follow. There you have your update for today. If you liked this update, if you like these more kind of thorough and detailed, informative updates, please consider subscribing. I plan to keep you informed throughout the next few weeks. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon. And of course, remember that YouTube course with the pre-sale is linked down below.